The gynecologist was telling me my IUD was perfectly placed when my best friend texted, "Is this Jack?" A link glowed beneath the text. Don't. Just don't. The doctor finished, and I mumbled thanks. My fingers already moving. The app opened. A video, already at 2.3 million views. The title, "Found my soulmate in a Birmingham bar. Help me find him." The camera panned across a noisy bar, landing on a familiar laugh. My breath hitted. There he was. Jack. My Jack. Leaning against the polished wood, a whiskey in his hand, his head thrown back in a way I hadn't seen in years. The camera zoomed in. He looked alive, vibrant. The version of him I'd met before mortgages and midnight feedings. "So you're telling me a handsome guy like you is just floating around?" Jack shrugged, a slow, easy smile spreading.
Just looking for a real connection, you know? Something real.
"And you're available?" He took a sip, his eyes holding the lens.
Completely.
The comment section was a blur of emojis and frenzy. Alabama Gemini. The way he looks at the camera, he bought around for the whole bar. Such a sweet, single energy. Single energy. The words burned. I was at home, our 6-month-old daughter, Lily, finally asleep on my chest after 2 hours of rocking. I'd been wearing the same Milkvein sweatshirt for 3 days. He'd kissed my forehead, smelling of mint.
Client dinner. Gonna be late. Don't wait up.
I looked at the time tam. My thumb trembled as I hit the text box. The cursor blinked. Lily sighed in her sleep. I typed the only truth I had left. That's my husband. We have 2 children. He told me he was working late. I pressed send. The screen refreshed instantly, my comment appearing at the bottom of a rushing stream of adoration. My phone buzzed in my hand. A text from Jack.
Can it wait? In a meeting.
It was just talking!
Jack's voice was too loud for our kitchen at 7 a.m. Lily, in her high chair, banged a spoon. Our 3-year-old, Noah, stared with wide eyes. "Just talking?" My voice was flat. I held my phone out. The video paused on his laughing face. "You told her you were completely available. You told me you were at a client dinner." He ran a hand through his hair, the picture of exasperated innocence.
It was a client dinner at the bar. The team went after. This girl just started filming. It was harmless fun, Amanda. You're blowing this up because you're bored at home.
The words, so casually cruel, hung in the air, bored, at home, with his children, in our home. 12 million people think you're their soulmate, Jack.
So what? It's a stupid viral video. It means nothing.
He grabbed his travel mug.
I'm stressed, okay? You have no idea the pressure I'm under, providing for all of us. Sometimes a man needs to blow off steam.
I opened the app again. My comment had over 10,000 replies. My heart murmured. At the top, pinned by the creator, was a response, a winking emoji, a shrug. The wave beneath it was a 290. User 7821, yikes. Maybe take the hint, sis. If he wanted to claim you, he would. Truth seek 99, no ring have not taken. Sorry, not sorry. Let the man real queen. I felt the blood drain from my face. The humiliation was a physical thing, a cold wash that left me trembling. They were blaming me, the invisible wife, the boring, ring-obsessed killjoy. Jack's phone chimed repeatedly on the counter. He glanced at it, his face pinning slightly.
Great.
Now the guys at work are texting me about it.
Thanks for that, Amanda. Really.
He slammed the door on his way out. I looked at my children. Noah's lip wobbled.
Daddy mad?
I forced a smile, the muscles in my face aching.
No, baby. Daddy's just late.
The pediatrician's waiting room smelled like antiseptic and despair. Noah was curled against me, burning with fever. Lily fussed in her carrier. I scrolled. Chloe, the TikToker, had posted a follow-up. Her face, tear-streaked and heartbroken, filled the screen.
I just feel so used.
She whispered to the camera, her voice cracking.
My heart was so open, so pure. I just wanted to find a real connection. I had no idea he was lying to us both. My DMs are flooded with women sharing similar stories.
It's a pattern. The comments had shifted. Now they were a river of sympathy for Chloe. Out-supportal queen. You didn't know, babe. He's the liar, not you. They're both trash. You're the victim here.
I just feel so stupid. And for his wife, I can't imagine, but he wasn't wearing a ring.
A fresh wave of hate comments on my original thread piled on, citing Chloe's video. She was the victim. I was either a fool or a co-conspirator. Jack was a liar, but I was the one holding him back, the reason he had to lie. A small, hot hand touched my cheek. Noah looked up, his eyes glassy.
Mama sad?
The 2 words shattered the last of my composure. I looked at my little boy, seeing the worry in his face that had no place there. I forced my lips into the brightest, most false smile I could manage.
No, baby. Mama's just tired.
My phone buzzed. Maya.
Are you seeing this? Bitch is trending. She's monetizing your husband.
That night, after the kids were asleep, the house was a tomb. Jack was working late again. The silence was a living thing, pressing in on me. He wasn't wearing a ring. The phrase echoed. It was the shield they both hid behind. Chloe's excuse. The internet's verdict. I opened my laptop. I needed to see it. The proof of the night. The proof of before. With cold, clinical fingers, I logged into our shared family cloud drive, the one we used for backups of photos, of documents. For the family. I navigated to the photo folder, scrolled to December, the 23rd, the day before Christmas Eve. We'd taken a picture before bed, the 4 of us in matching pajamas, a silly tradition. The kids were overtired and crying. Jack had sighed, exasperated, but I'd insisted. For the memories. I clicked. The metadata popped up. Date, December 23rd. Time, 1914. 7:14 p.m. The timestamp on Chloe's TikTok video, 21:47. He'd been with us, in flannel pajamas at 7:14. He'd told me he had to go back to the office to finish a report he'd left at 7:30. He'd been in that bar, claiming to be completely available by 9:47. My breath came in short, sharp gasps. Premeditated. The lie was planned. Then, something else. A folded, synced from his phone. I never looked here. Family utility bills, car insurance. I opened it. Screenshots. Not of receipts, of Instagram DMs. The first one. December 1st, a usernames I didn't recognize, but the profile phug was her, Chloe.
Hey stranger, miss seeing you at the cafe.
His reply, sent 5 minutes later, haha, I'll have to stop by and give them a hard time, been swamped. Her, December 5th, swamped a state of mind. Escape with me? Him, this week December 12th, a selfie of her winning at the camera, what looked the same bar, my new Wahole, it has potential. Him, looks like my kind of place. I scrolled. Flirtation, a building tension, an inside joke about the grumpy barista. Plans to run into each other that he'd forgotten to mention. The last message from her, December 22nd, the night before the family photo, the night before the borrow night. I'll be there, will you? He'd left it on red. He hadn't replied. He hadn't needed to. He'd just showed up. The love I'd felt for him, the messy, tired, enduring love of shared life and children, didn't shatter. It didn't explode. It simply vanished. One moment it was a weight in my chest, the next, a void. A cold, clear certainty filled the space where it had been. This wasn't a mistake. It was a campaign that used my life, my children, my trust as its backdrop. On the baby monitor, Lily made a soft sleep sound. I closed the laptop. The love was gone. The calculation began. I'm not going to scream at him, I said, my voice unnervingly calm in the quiet of Maya's sun-drept kitchen. I took a sip of tea. Maya, who had been pacing like a caged tiger, stopped dead. She stared at me. The rage that had contorted her face since she saw the video melted into something else. A fierce, glittering focus. Holy shit. Okay. What's step one? I slipped a notepad across the island. On it, in my neat, list-making handwriting, was a plan. Evidence curation. Not just the photo and DMMs, text logs showing his working late lies, bank statements showing bar charges on client dinner nights, a timeline. Legal front. I'd already contacted Sarah Lynn, a divorce attorney known for being a shark in couture. Our call was in 2 hours. Fault-based divorce, adultery, emotional distress. The DMs were premeditation. The TikTok video was public humiliation. We'd go for everything. Narrative control. Chloe gave me a platform, 12 million views. I would use it. Not for crying, for facts. Financial independence. The awakened idea was a spark in the pediatrician's office, fed by the thousands of DMs from women saying, "You're saying what I couldn't." A community, a resource, business. Step one is this, I said, opening my laptop. I drafted a video. No face. Just a black screen with white text and a calm, steady voiceover. On December 23rd, at 7:14 p.m., this was my husband. The family photo appeared. He told me he was working late. At 9:47 p.m., this was my husband. A clip from Chloe's video, his face clear. He told a stranger he was completely available. He'd been telling her that for weeks. Screenshots of the DMs, dates highlighted, scrolled slowly. The truth doesn't need a filter. And a woman who's been quiet isn't always weak. The caption would be simple. Working late. The receipts.
You post that, and you nuke them from orbit.
That's the idea.
Step 2 is the lawyer. I need him gone, Maya. Out of my house. Out of my head. I need him to pay literally for every lie.
My phone rang, a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. A moment later, a notification. Sarah Lynn's office confirming our consultation. We are dear.
Maya looked at the notepad, at my face.
You're scary. I love it. Good.
I said, closing the laptop.
Let's get to work. I posted the video at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday, the witching hour for social media. For an hour, nothing. Then, a trickle. 100 views, 1,000 comments. Oh my God, the audacity. He's a monster. Then, the algorithm caught it. It was like throwing a match into a gas line. Views, 10,000, 50,000. My phone began to scream. Notifications piled on top of notifications. Comments, shares, tags. The narrative flipped in real time on Chloe's original video. The adoring comments were buried under a tide of outrage. She's the wife! He's married! Look at the timestamps! Look at the DMs! My video was shared with captions like, "This is how you clap back," and the bar ghost's wife just ended his whole career. By 10 p.m., it had 500,000 views. My calm, factual voice was everywhere. The front door crashed open at 10:15. Jack stood there, his face pale with fury, his tie as Eswi. He roared, the sound echoing through the quiet house.
Take it down right now, Amanda! Do you have any idea what you've done? You're ruining my life!
I was sitting at the kitchen table, nursing a cup of tea. I looked up, not a flicker of emotion on my face. "No," I said, my voice even. "I'm documenting it." He stared at me as if I'd grown a second head. The meek, tired wife he'd left that morning was gone. In her place was a statue, carved from ice.
They're calling me at work! My boss saw it! HR wants a meeting tomorrow!
I'm sure they do.
You bitch!
The word was a spit.
You vindictive, crazy bitch! You're trying to destroy me!
I replied, setting my cup down with a soft click. You did that yourself. I'm just providing the evidence. My phone, face down on the table, buzzed and skittered. He flinched at the sound. I picked it up, glanced at the screen. A local area code I recognized. The morning news show. This is Amanda.
Amanda, hi. This is Lisa from Good Day, Alabama. We saw your incredible video. We'd love to have you on the show tomorrow morning to talk about your story.
Jack was staring, his mouth slightly open, the fury draining from his face, replaced by dawning horror. I held his gaze. What time would you like me there, Lisa? The Good Day, Alabama studio was brighter than I expected, and colder. The host, Lisa, had a smile that didn't reach her eyes.
So, Amanda,
She began, leaning forward with faux concern.
this must be incredibly painful. A very public betrayal.
What would you say to other women who might be in your shoes? I'd worn a simple blue sweater. No makeup, but I'd slept. I looked, I hoped, like what I was. A normal, wronged woman. Not a hysteric.
I'd say trust the evidence, not the narrative. I replied, my voice clear in the soundproofed space. Someone else will always try to tell your story for you, to paint you as the villain or the fool. My advice is to hold on to your truth. It's the one thing they can't filter. Lisa blinked, thrown by the calm, strategic answer. And your husband, the Alabama bar ghost, have you spoken to him since? We've spoken, I said, not elaborating. My focus now is on my children and on creating something positive from this. The response from other women has shown me how many people feel alone in situations like this. I'm hoping to change that. So this isn't about revenge? I smiled, a small, quiet thing. Revenge is a personal luxury. I'm a mother. I'm building a future. The two are mutually exclusive. The segment aired at 8:15 a.m. By 8:30, my follower count had doubled. By 9 a producer from a national daytime talk show had slid into my DMs. By 9:15, Jack called. I let it go to voicemail. His message was garbled, panicked.
Amanda, the office. HR said they've put me on administrative leave, pending an investigation. My key card, it doesn't work. You have to talk to them. You have to tell them it was a misunderstanding, a private matter.
I deleted it.
At 10 a.m., Chloe posted again, a rambling 3-minute video, her eyelashes clumped with tears.
I'm being attacked. I didn't know. He lied to me too. I'm a victim here. This woman is orchestrating a smear campaign against me and I won't stand for it. I have feelings too.
The comments were less sympathetic this time.
User orchestrating? Girl, she posted receipts. You posted a thirst trap.
You flirted with a married man for weeks. You filmed him without full consent. You publicly shamed his wife. Sit down. My DM requests exploded again. Thousands of them. Stories of gaslighting, of financial control, of secret phones and hidden dating apps. Women sending screenshots of their own receipts asking, what do I do now? I looked at the flood of messages, at Chloe's crumbling performative tears, at the silent phone that no longer buzzed with Jack's excuses. I typed a new post. Thank you for sharing your stories. You are not alone. Tonight, 9 p.m. CST, I'm going live. Let's talk. #The Awakened Corner. At 8:58 p.m., I took a deep breath. My living room was clean, the toys tucked away. A single soft lamp lit the space behind me. I'd pinned my hair up, worn a plain black t-shirt. I looked capable, calm, in control. I went live. The viewer count jumped from hundreds to thousands in seconds. Comments scrolled too fast to read. A waterfall of hearts and fire emojis and greetings. Hi, everyone, I said, my voice steady. I'd practiced this. Thank you for being here. This isn't about my story anymore. It's about ours. I'm calling this the Awakened Corner. A place to share, to learn, to find the next step. When the ground has fallen out from from under you. I saw the questions flood in. How did you stay so calm? What's the first legal step? My husband denies everything. I didn't address the specifics of my case. Instead, I talked about the feeling. The cold shock, the quiet fury, the calm came after the storm, I said, answering one comment. When you have nothing left to lose, you find a different kind of strength. The kind that isn't loud. It's quiet, and it's solid, and it builds things. For an hour, I answered questions about gathering evidence, screenshot this, back up that, email to yourself. I talked about finding a lawyer, about the difference between fault and no-fault states. I shared the number for the National Domestic Violence Hotline, emphasizing that emotional and financial abuse counted. It wasn't therapy. It was strategy. Delivered with a steady voice and a compassionate but unbreakable gaze. The comments were a chorus of gratitude. You're a lighthouse. Thank you for showing us the way. I just sent the screenshots to my own email. First step. When I signed off, the viewer count had peaked at over 50,000. My follower number had jumped again. I had requests for consultation, for speaking, for more. Maya texted me.
You are a goddess.
Also, check the news. The coffee chain Chloe worked at just tweeted they've parted ways with her, not aligning with our values. I allowed myself a small, cold smile. The first domino. The next morning, an email arrived. Formal letterhead. A prominent network. We were captivated by your segment and your live stream. We'd like to explore developing a recurring segment with you, perhaps as a digital resilience coach. We think your message is powerful and timely. I leaned back in my chair. The void inside me wasn't gone, but it was being filled, brick by brick, with something new, something of my own making. His job, his reputation, his home, mine was expanding. The hate from Chloe's remaining followers was a dull roar in the background.
I ignored it. The awakened corner was thriving. I'd done 3 more live sessions, each more focused than the last. Separating finances 1, the paper trail, what to document, finding your voice with a therapist. The network deal was in the final stages. Sarah Lynn, my attorney, was a pit bull. The divorce settlement was shaping up to be everything I dared to hope for, and more, thanks to the egregious fault of Jack's very public adultery and the financial records of his bar client dinners. Then, the DM arrived. It was from a new, blank account, but the voice was unmistakable, orchestrating this whole smear campaign. You're pathetic. You think you're a her woman. Cold me everything are, along with your internet fame. You've ruined my life. I read it. Then I read it again. A cold, clean focus settled over me. This was the gift that kept on giving. That night, I went live as scheduled. The viewer count soared past 60,000. I smiled at the camera. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. Tonight, we're doing something a little different. We're going to do a real-time case study in digital harassment and how to handle it. I shared my screen. The DM popped up large for everyone to see. I redacted the username, but left the text. A collective gasp seemed to ripple through the comments. OMG. Is that her? WTF. Now, I said, my voice calm, instructival. Let's break this down. First, note the new account, a classic move to avoid accountability. Second, the projection. You're pathetic, you're bitter. This is often what harassers do, accuse you of the very things they are feeling. I highlighted phrases. Orchestrating a smear campaign. Interesting word choice. I posted facts, timestamps, receipts. That's not a campaign. That's disclosure. The comments were flying. This is brutal. I'm here for it. Teach her! He told me everything. A common tactic. The abuser or the affair partner will claim the victim confided in them to create a false intimacy and justify their actions. It's a manipulation. I paused, looking directly into the camera. If he was so miserable, why did he stay? Why did he have more children with me? Why did he only become miserable when a younger woman with a camera paid him attention? These are the questions to ask. I scrolled to the last line. You've ruined my life. I let the words hang in the digital air. I just showed receipts. You built your life on a lie he told. Who ruined it? The live chat exploded. The screen share was being clipped, shared everywhere. The appropriate response to this, I continued, clicking away from the DM, is not to engage. It's to document. I've already forwarded this to my attorney. It's evidence of harassment, of attempted intimidation. It has no power here in this corner. Our power comes from the truth and from building each other up, not from tearing strangers down, from fake accounts. I ended the live stream 20 minutes later. The clip of me dissecting the DM went viral on its own. By midnight, Chloe's main TikTok account, the one with 800,000 followers, was gone, banned for targeted harassment and bullying. A notification popped up on my phone. It was a donation to the Awakened Community Fund, with a note for the Legal Defense Fund, from someone who knows. I didn't know who sent it. I didn't need to. The silence from that corner of the internet was finally perfectly absolute. The conference room at Sarah Lynn's office was all cool glass and sharp angles. Jack sat across from me, flanked by a tired-looking man who was clearly a court-appointed attorney. He looked diminished. His suit, once sharp, hung loosely. He couldn't meet my eyes. Sarah, a sleek panther in a cream-colored suit, slid the final settlement agreement across the table. Everything is as we discussed, Amanda. The house, free and clear, transferred to you. Spousal support for 5 years, indexed to inflation. Child support at the maximum state guideline, plus private school and extracurricular expenses. The retirement accounts are split 70-30 in your favor, due to the fault-based ruling. He retains his 401k, but you receive a lump sum equivalent to the disparity. She spoke calmly, as if listing grocery items.
Each word was a brick in the wall between my old life and my new one. Jack's lawyer murmured to him, pointing at clauses. Jack just nodded, his shoulders slumped. When it was time to sign, his hand shook. The pen scratched against the paper, a feeble sound. It was done. Outside the building, the autumn air was crisp. Jack hurried after me, his steps uneven on the pavement.
Amanda, wait.
I turned. He looked old, defeated. The man from the TikTok video was a ghost.
I was an idiot.
He said, the words tumbling out.
A complete selfish idiot. I destroyed everything. The kids, the house, you.
His eyes were red-ringed.
I'm so sorry. It was the biggest mistake of my life. Is there any chance at all we could...
He trailed off. Hope and despair were warling on his face. I looked at him. This man I'd loved. This man I'd built a life with. The rage was gone. The heartbreak was a scar, not a wound. All that was left was a vast, quiet emptiness where he used to be. I know. I didn't say I forgive you. I didn't say it's okay. I said I know. An acknowledgement of a fact, a stone dropped into a deep, still well. It made no ripple. His face crumpled. He'd been braced for anger, for tears, for a scene. He wasn't prepared for this. Nothingness.
The movers come for my stuff tomorrow.
Make sure they're gone by 3. The kids have gymnastics. My voice was pleasant, detached, the voice of a very efficient secretary. I turned and walked to my car. A new, modest SUV. The first major purchase I'd made with the advance from the network deal. I didn't look back. 1 year later, the green room of the Today Show was a blur of friendly faces and last-minute powder. A producer clipped a mic to my blazer.
30 seconds, Amanda. Just be yourself.
You're a natural. I smiled. Being myself was a new concept, one I was still been getting used to. The self on the other side of the camera was Amanda of The Awakened, founder, coach, survivor. She was steadier than I'd ever been.
The segment was about digital resilience in the modern age. The host, a warm woman in her 50s, smiled as the camera light went red.
Amanda, your story captivated the nation, from a viral betrayal to building a thriving online community that helps thousands. What's the biggest lesson you learned? I'd done enough of these now that the answers came smoothly, but I always tried to mean them. I learned that your story is your own. No one else gets to write the ending, and that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to tell the truth clearly and calmly, and then build something new with the pieces. The Alabama bar ghost, that chapter seems firmly closed. What would you say to him now? I'd prepared for this. I'd been asked it before. I looked into the camera, not at the host. Some people aren't chapters in your life. They're just footnotes that help you find your title. I love that. And what's next for The Awakened? Growth. We're launching regional support networks because healing shouldn't only happen online. Across town, in a sterile beige apartment, Jack fumbled with his tie. He was late for his shift. The rental car lot was understaffed, and his manager was a kid half his age, with a perpetual sneer. The small TV on his kitchen counter was on, muted. The morning show was ending, and there she was, Amanda, on national television. Her hair was shorter, sharper. She wore a confident smile and a blazer that probably cost more than his monthly rent. The Chiron beneath her read, Amanda Carter, founder of The Awakened, on Reclaiming Your Narrative. He stood, frozen, a cold cup of coffee in his hand. He'd seen her in magazines at the grocery checkout. He heard her voice on a podcast while driving. She was everywhere, a success story. His failure was the prologue to her triumph.
His new roommate, a guy in his 20s, shuffled in.
Hey, you're gonna be late. Brent's on a warpath.
He glanced at the TV, did a double take.
Hey, isn't that the Awakened lady? She's awesome. My sister follows her, said she got her out of a real bad situation.
Jack tried to speak. Nothing came out. He just nodded, a jerky, mechanical motion.
Yeah, total inspiration. Makes you believe people can really change, you know?
The door slammed shut behind him. Jack was alone with the silent, smiling image of his ex-wife.
He finally reached for the remote and turned the TV off, reflecting his own hollowed-out face. The park was a symphony of streaks and laughter. Spring sunlight dappled through the new leaves. Lily, now a determined toddler, was trying to conquer the climbing frame. Noah, taller and less fragile, was explaining the rules of an elaborate game to a new friend. I sat on the bench, the sun warm on my face. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A notification. Another milestone for the Awaken platform. User signups, donations, a message from the team about the launch of the first in-person support group in Birmingham. I took the phone out, looked at the screen. A year ago, a notification meant a new wound, a fresh wave of humiliation. Now, it meant connection, growth, a life building itself. I swiped the notification away, silenced the phone, slid it back into my pocket.
Higher, Mama!
I got up, the movement easy, my body feeling light in a way I couldn't remember.
Okay, hold on tight.
I pushed, and her squeal of delight cut through the air. My phone buzzed again, muffled. Probably Maya, wanting to dissect every second of the morning show interview. I'd call her back later. For now, there was just this. The weight of my daughter flying forward, then rushing back towards me. The sound of my son's earnest voice explaining the rules of a universe only he understood. The smell of cut grass and warm earth. I pushed the swing again, and Lily's laughter rang out, pure and bright. I watched her, this tiny, fearless human I'd made, and I felt it. Not a sudden burst, but a deep, steady thub in my veins. This was enough. The sun, the laughter, the quiet hum of a life I'd chosen, piece by piece. This was everything.